Changpeng Zhao is now worth at least $100 billion. That's according to Bloomberg Billionaires Index.
63% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck and maybe picking up extra shifts to make ends meet. Changpeng Zhao, the CEO of Binance, was in the exact same spot as a teenager and is now worth over $96 billion. So you have to ask yourself, are you really doomed to a life of poverty just because of your current situation? Changpeng only got out of poverty because of his work ethic and ambition in the workplace. Getting rich is hard, and being poor is hard. You have to wisely choose which hard life you want to live. Binance is the most popular trading platform for cryptocurrency, with their native token being BNB. Changpeng's current net worth is $96 billion, placing him as the 11th richest man in the world. There is a good chance he's worth a lot more, as personal assets were not added to that estimate. But in this scenario, crypto was the reason a boy and family had the opportunity to rise to wealth. Most of Changpeng's success came from cryptocurrency, an idea that he knew was needed from a young age. As a child, Changpeng was constantly moving between Canada, Japan, and China. This constant change in currencies made him realize all the flaws within the financial system. At the time, the concept of cryptocurrency was not a thing, but it laid out the principles of the digital international currency ideology, or more specifically, the need for something better.
Any financial institution, any bank, to be honest, any person should be looking at crypto.
The beginning of his story starts in Jiangsu, China. Both of his parents were teachers, and his father eventually became a professor. Upon his first year in university, Changpeng's father was pushed to do labor on the coast rather than study and teach due to the Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution. His father was exiled for being branded as a pro-bourgeois intellect. In all his free time, his father would study and eventually got accepted into the University of British Columbia. This was a large shift in the family and one of their first steps out of poverty. For many people living in remote areas, moving countries is often the first step to a better life. By the late 1980s, the family migrated to Vancouver, Canada. At this time, Changpeng was only 12. His father could not get his nose out of books, and he eventually became a professor. It's no surprise that when Changpeng grew up, he had an incredible work ethic when he had a father who did everything possible to escape poverty. Changpeng's father always encouraged and expected him to work, which was required to keep the family supported due to the lack of income. By the age of 14, he was working at McDonald's during the day and at a gas station at night. He was determined to make sure all the expenses for the family were paid for. Eventually, he got accepted into Montreal's McGill University to study computer science. This would be the first step into creating the man able to publish an entire trading platform, network, and token. After completing his master's in Montreal, he went for an internship in Tokyo, working for the Tokyo Exchange as a subcontractor. At this point, he was already developing software for complementing trade orders. His skills in the field were very valuable, especially considering how new and underdeveloped the field was, as well as his age. After working for the Tokyo Exchange, he went on to work for Bloomberg's trade books, once again creating software. However, this time for the purpose of options trading. Changpeng was quickly promoted up the corporate ladder and eventually became responsible for managing the teams in Asia, North America, and Europe. Because he had to work 2 jobs as a child to support his family, the work ethic of this young man continued to prove itself again and again. In fact, at the age of 27 years old, he was promoted 3 times within a 2-year period. However, even after achieving all this, the studying and ambition in this man's life was nowhere near ready to cease. Changpeng understands financial transactions as he worked with the Tokyo Exchange and Bloomberg Trades books. Combining this with his education from Montreal, he had a deep understanding of both finance and technology. These are obviously the 2 most important aspects of developing cryptocurrencies. Even though the Bitcoin white paper wasn't even close to being released at the time, Changpeng still developed the exact skill sets required for the field without even realizing it. In 2005, the young man left these corporations and moved to Shanghai. His goal was to create fusion systems to allow for easier trade with brokerage companies. This is where he finally gave up being an employee and pursued a more entrepreneurial life. His company quickly became one of the most used platforms for brokers, allowing for quick, cheap, and efficient trading. This is probably one of the biggest moments in his career that made him ready to launch Binance, as working as an employee trains your brain for stability, consistency, and low risk. On the flip side, because of the breakaway from that mindset, it readied Changpeng for the world of business. In early 2013, Changpeng bumped into Vitalik Buterin, one of the founders of Ethereum, at a conference in Las Vegas. Changpeng said, "I was learning Ripple. He came over with a laptop to show me how it works, and in the process, he transferred $500 of XRP and said to me, 'You can use that to teach the next guy.'" This immediately intrigued him, especially considering his skills were perfectly suited for that kind of market. Changpeng dove into the space, immediately falling down the rabbit trail most of us do. Bitcoin was super small, trading at a high of $1,000 during the bull market. His crypto journey started with working for blockchain.info. This was a website that allowed the storing of Bitcoin as well as the teaching of it. Specifically, Changpeng worked as the head of development, a special role to be sure. He stayed and worked there for years, creating and updating the company's software. However, Changpeng did not want to end his cryptocurrency journey there, as he went on to become the chief technology officer for OKCoin. You've got to give this man credit for continually striving for more, even after making it on the corporate ladder. Most likely fruition of admiring his father's work ethic and building up one of his own from a young age. OKCoin was a digital trading platform allowing for the exchange between Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, as well as multiple flat currencies. It was one of the first exchanges that allowed margin trading for the new, radical cryptocurrency. After roughly 5 years of working for OKCoin, Changpeng made an ambitious, risky decision. In July 2017, the man who at one point was working day and night for minimum wage to provide for his family, created the cryptocurrency trading platform, Binance. In 2017, Changpeng realized the demand for coins and networks and decided to launch his own. He decided to print 200 million tokens and raised $15 million. 11 days after the seed funding, the exchange opened. At first, the exchange only had 5 coins listed. The exchange has greatly developed since then, as it now has almost 600 pairs. Just over a month after launch, Binance had 120,000 users and had an astronomical 5,000 new users per day. After 165 days of operations, Binance became the largest exchange in regards to trading volume. The headquarters for Binance was unfortunately placed in China. Shortly after launch, China began its crackdown on cryptocurrency, forcing Binance out of the country. Because of how new Binance was, starting a new headquarters and scaling outside of China was not very difficult. Binance decided to move to Bermuda for their new headquarters and teamed up with the Bermuda government in hopes of finding good, reliable ways to regulate the crypto market. The exchange decided to donate $10 million to tech education programs and $5 million to blockchain startups. Within 6 months of launch, Binance had secured $350 million in profit, mostly from transaction fees. On top of this, it had 10 million users worldwide. It seems as though Binance was taking massive strides, thriving to become the best cryptocurrency exchange out there. Binance even partnered with the Malta Stock Exchange to enable the trading of securities tokens. Binance also bought portions of Founders Bank, a financial institution dedicated to helping crypto-related firms. Managers and directors for Binance seemed to enjoy operating on islands such as Bermuda and decided to expand onto others. The company began with Binance Jersey, a sub-company of Binance built on the British island Jersey. The same was done with Binance Uganda by 2019. In the same year, a partnership was made with Simplex. Simplex is a company working out of Israel in the field of financial technology, whose hope was to provide guaranteed fraudless payment processing. With this partnership, Binance users could attach their credit or debit cards to Binance, allowing for simpler exchange between crypto and flat currency. While everything was expanding and hopes were high for the company, something bad must always happen. 2 years after launch in 2019, Binance was hacked. The thieves stole roughly 7,000 bitcoins, worth $280 million today. This was done by stealing the codes needed for two-factor authentication, API keys, and other information. Thankfully, the developers were quick to react and froze all wallets on the exchange. On top of this, Binance had a secure asset fund for users, allowing for all losses to be made up for. Roughly 2% of Binance's Bitcoin holdings were stolen. Regardless of the entire hack, Binance decided to continue innovating and creating better things for the blockchain. In July of 2019, developers decided to create a stable coin. A stable coin is a digital asset that is pegged to flat currency, removing all volatility from the token. This can be used as a safe haven for investors during times of uncertainty, as well as guaranteeing value during transactions. Since then, Binance has gone on to accomplish several things, such as creating the Binance Smart Chain, the Binance Credit Card, crypto loans, 125% leverage trading, and even hosting 15 million users per day. This is the story of a kid who went from flipping burgers and working at a gas station to feed his family to creating the world's largest crypto exchange, innovating the entire world of cryptology. None other than Changpeng Zhao. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe.